So the other week I was watching a video by Cliff, the urban prepper. And he has a great series started where he's trying to really look over the things in his kits. And does he really have the best thing for urban survival? And one of the things he's determined is, hey, lighters are much better than a ferro rod. And I completely agree. But I do keep that ferro rod for backup, just in case. But he also was looking at cordage, and he determined that paracord was probably the best to carry. Well, 550 paracord is the darling of the prepper community. Everybody touts its benefits and says, this is what you should carry in your bug out bag. But I question, is it really the best thing to carry? Before you get all upset, watch this video and find out if 550 paracord is the best for you to carry. Now, don't get me wrong, 550 paracord is great. Its tensile strength is 550 pounds. And it's composed of 7 other little cords in this nylon sheet. And those individual cords, people say could be used for sewing or other purposes. And it was originally developed for the military for parachute suspension cords. So it has to meet military specs. Now, one of the things paracord is great for is what I call prepper macrame. That's right, making these wonderful little bracelets that all preppers seem to have. But I question how many actually wear them. This is a very pretty one, isn't it? So it comes in great colors, makes great bracelets, but is it really the best cordage for you? Personally, I prefer tarred Bankline. Comes in a variety of weights. I mean, look at this. Here's paracord, right? And this is Bankline. I have 24 feet on this. You could not do it with paracord. And what I do is I love these little things. You just pop it backwards and it keeps your cord so nice. But you can see this is 60 and it can hold, I think it's 530 pounds, so almost as much as paracord. And look at this. Can you see it? It is thinner than paracord. Now, in case you're wondering what these spools are, they're made by Bob Ease, and you can find them on Amazon or in craft stores. They just work so great for keeping your cordage nice and tangle free. The good thing about Bankline is it was made for trot lines, so it doesn't absorb water. Paracord can eventually become saturated with water and it won't float and it affects its strength. The other hand, Bankline is made to float, and that's because of that tarring on it. Now, sometimes if you get cheap Bankline, it really smells of tar. This doesn't. I do say buy your cordage in the USA. Make sure you know who makes it. So does it really have the specs that's stated? Now, I find that Bankline is much better than paracord when you're trying to put, sticks together and lash them, because paracord is slightly sticky because of the tar on it. So it holds a knot better. It's just easier to fix to the twigs. I recommend Bankline over paracord for most of shelter building. Now, Bankline also has 3 separate strands, so depending on its strength, if you divide it by 3, generally you'll get the strength of each of those strands, so you can use them separately. But the only way you can really separate them easily is if you buy the twisted Bankline. The braided Bankline would make it very difficult to separate the individual strands. Now, this is the most common variety. It is 36. It has a static weight of 320 pounds and is only 0.085 inches. So this 36 weight, I'm saying it's about 325 pounds. I have 36 feet on this little spool, and I probably could have even gotten more. Again, so much easier to store than Paracord. The 60 Bankline can carry a static weight of about 530 pounds, and it costs just a little bit more than half what the Paracord costs. There's also other cordage to consider. This is Amsteel. It floats, it's flexible, and it's used for mooring. It is also abrasion resistant, because you know, if you have a boat and it's near the dock, it can, but it's resistant to breaking. This cord right here, which let me compare it to Paracord. Can you see how much thinner it is? This cord here is weighted for 1,400 pounds. That's right. 550, 1,400. But this is more for specialized use. Of course, it is great for the boating crowd. There's also Kevlar. This is Kevlar 200. It can hold up to 180 pounds, but it does come in strengths up to 2,000 pounds. It's made of the same stuff that bulletproof vests are comprised of. And it's extremely heat resistant. It can be used as a friction saw to cut zip ties. Now, I've never tried that. But I got these mini micro spools at Gearward. The mini holds 60 feet and weighs only 16 grams, and the micro holds 25 feet and weighs only 8 grams. It can fit in the Altoids kit. Now we also have Technora. The main benefit of Technora 600 is it's stronger and more durable than standard 550 Paracord and less than half the diameter. It also has resistance to heat, degradation, and chemicals, and very little stretch. Your Paracord can have up to 30% stretch. It's a little bit more elastic than your Technora. And last, we have the Humble Mason line. This is number 18, and it can hold a weight of up to 180 pounds. You know, it's mainly used, or it was anyway, by bricklayers to get a straight line. It's made out of nylon, and it comes in great neon colors, which makes it great for marking your trail. You can also use it for gardening, fabricating traps, and it is super, super inexpensive. Another great thing, which is why I use it in gardening, is it is rot and mildew resistant. I gave up trying to estimate how much is on here, but it's at least 70 feet, if not more. You can really fit a lot on such a little container. Now, I've constructed this prop to show you the difference in width of the various cordage. As you can see, Paracord has the largest width. The smaller the width, the more you can store in the same space. Now, 550 Paracord also costs almost double what Bankline costs for comparable strength. I based this comparison on the cost of the cordage on Amazon. You might be able to get a better deal at your hardware or outfitter store. Now, Ramblin' Jim has an excellent site which says, be careful when you're talking about strengths of these lines, any cordage. This is 550 Paracord. You can say, oh, I can hold up to 550 pounds. That's 550 pounds of a static dead weight. As soon as it starts swinging, that's dynamic weight, and it cannot hold as much weight. And knots can also weaken the strength by 20 to 40%. And you have a sharp angle, and that can also weaken the strength, which is why something like Amsteel is better. So what does this mean? Well, let me quote Ramblin' Jim. All this means that the working load rating of 550 cord is much, much lower than 550 pounds. Conventional wisdom says that the safe working load of any rope is around 1/5 to 1/3 of the static load. In other words, assume that you can only hoist about 100 to 175 pounds with dry 550 paracord. Oh, that's right. If it gets wet, that can also affect how much weight it can hold. Now, 550 paracord, any of these cordages I've showed you, are not to hold humans, an adult human. You need to have special cordage for that. For rappelling and things like that, upside of a mountain, you don't use 550 paracord. For the obvious reasons we've just stated. Also, heed the warning that came when I bought this Amsteel Blue rope. Warning statement: the improper use of rope may be dangerous. Rope will fail if worn out, overloaded, misused, damaged, or improperly maintained or abused. Rope failure may cause death, serious injury, or property damage. So always check your cordage regularly to make sure it is in an optimum condition. Your life could depend on it. So what I'm getting at in this video is start thinking about what would you use your cordage for. Is it to make a sling, to make an impromptu tourniquet, to fasten your hammock up to a tree, building a shelter, securing your tent? I mean, what are you using it for? Well, I can say that Bankline, I should say this, Bankline can meet just about everything I've stated. And it takes up less space than Paracord. It's also easier to knot, and it doesn't weigh as much as Paracord. In urban survival, you may have to secure a door to prevent access. GearWard shows how Kevlar coat can be used. And if it's to secure items to your vehicle when bugging out, then consider carrying various lengths of bungee cords. If you think you might have to tow something heavy, then carry heavy-duty tow strap. Perhaps you're bugging out via boat. Then include cordage such as the Amsteel Blue would make sense. And if it's to repair clothing, then don't strip your paracord for one thread so you have a thread. Because, you know, if you are using the thread, do you have a needle? If you do have a needle, why didn't you just pack some heavy-duty thread and not worry about stripping it out of your paracord? I mean, maybe in a extreme survival condition that would be necessary, but it's a lot easier just to carry needle and thread in your bug out bag. So what do I carry? I carry paracord, Bankline, tow strap, bungee cords, and fishing line in my vehicle kit. In my EDC, I have small spools of Technora, Bankline, and copper wire. I also have a sewing kit in both my EDC and vehicle kits with various size needles and heavy-duty thread. Oh, and I want to mention there's some other neat ways other than just this to carry your cordage. A lot of people like this. I might have my lighter in backwards here, but it's to carry your paracord. You wrap it around here. It has a nice cutter here, and you have your lighter, which is great for fusing the ends so it doesn't fray. And you have to do that also with your Bankline. So this is a nice thing to carry cordage on, and you have various measurements here and other things you can use it for, but it is heavy when you compare it to this. I mean, really heavy. The other thing I have in my bug out bag is this little handy spool. It's kind of like a tape dispenser, but it's a cordage dispenser. So here's your cordage. You pull it off, decide how much you want, and it has a cutter right here so you can cut it easily. And it has this so you can clip it to something. This is also a nice option. Don't carry your cordage like this because it will become a tangled mess. Now, how much cordage should you carry in your bug out bag? I've seen estimates anywhere from 20 feet to an excess of 100 feet. You know, that's totally up to you. And again, you have to think of what you're using your cordage for. And that's the thing you need to spend time on. Okay, if you're in an urban situation, suburb, gonna go and survive in the woods, whatever your situation is, will depend on what you're using your cordage for and what is the best cordage for you. It might be Paracord, it might be Bankline, it might be both. So take time and think about how you're going to use your cordage before you decide what cordage goes in your bug out bag. Then decide if 550 Paracord is the best for you. Leave your comments below. What cordage do you prefer?